إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله ثم أما بعد. Welcome to Pillars, our Friday night talk for youth. And youth age starts from 15 and up. So if you are under 15, plan for a different program, inshallah. 15 years old and up is the age that is suitable, inshallah, for this gathering. Jazakumullahu khairan. You passed the message. We want to take care of everybody, but there are programs that's suitable for youngsters and some not suitable for everyone. So 15 years old and up, starting next week, inshallah, we'll check on IDs. Today is a wonderful day. Why? Because today is Friday. What happened Friday? Prophet Adam alayhi salam, what? The day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will start the day of judgment. Did you know that? And the best day that the sun rose upon. And the day that is special for sending peace and blessings on Muhammad, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And what make really today special is you. Yes, you, brother. You, sister, you make today special because you're here. If you're not here, we're not here. So jazakumullahu khairan for coming. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you and reward your parents. And inshallah, we'll be in a better gathering than this in Jannah, in Firdaus with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Today, even though I want to talk about other pillars of Islam, we talked about Salah, but I want to ask you a few questions just to make sure that we say in Arabic, fil i'ada ifada, in repetition there is a benefit. Now I want to ask a question, basic questions. Anytime you do an act of worship, you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept it and reward you for it. What are the two conditions that you have to have for any act of worship to be accepted? Please raise your hand. Two acts of worship. I'm sorry, not two acts of worship, two conditions for any act of worship to be accepted. They have to be present. If one of them is not present, the act is rejected. You don't get hasanat for it. Number one, Niyyah. What is Niyyah? Hold on, Sheikh. You cannot answer 10 questions. What is Niyyah? Intention. What is intention? You see? When you get stuck on the definition, that means you don't understand it. What is intention? Anyone? What is intention? No, it's you.
Me?
Uh-huh.
Intention is,
I know the word is so basic and so common, and that's what really puts us under the ground. Is we hear the word so often and we think we know it and we don't know it. This is like a person met another, Fudayl ibn Iyad, met a person. He said, Kam mada alayk? How old are you? He said, 60 years. He said, 60 years and you are traveling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. He told him, you know what you're saying? You see? You say that too. You say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. You get angry at your brother, your sister, or someone. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. I'm sure your parents say it 24/7 when they see you. They don't say it, that means you're a good person. If your parents don't say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah every time you see you, that means you're doing good. La hawla, there is no la hawl, no ability, no power to change from good to bad or from bad to good without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, niyyah, intention. Okay, niyyah, intention. What is intention? Give me a definition. Tfaddal.
In your heart.
In your heart. Okay, niyyah and intention always in your heart. So what does it mean to say I have a niyyah for such and such? Tfaddal.
Niyyah or intention is the true reason that you do something.
Raise your voice a little bit.
It's the true reason you do something.
Okay, what is the reason? Not you. You gave a lead. This is good. What's the reason? Why you're doing it? For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the meaning for sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Yani when you do something, normally, when do we say that word? When you're angry, for God's sake, do such and such. What does that mean? So you don't even know that. Okay, what is that for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
For his purpose only, like not doing it for any other person other than him, like
Why you're doing it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
because he likes it or he's asking me to do it.
He likes it. So that's all you care about, that he likes it. Why don't you do the same thing for your mom when she likes it? No, I'm not comparing, but so you do it because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes it? He likes a lot of things.
For me too.
He likes so many things.
To help me.
Huh?
For him to help me too.
Help you? So selfish.
No.
Wow. Yes, selfish. I'm selfish. I need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help me. I want him to help me. That's why I call him. That's why I do for his sake. Because I need him. He told me if you do it for my sake, I'll answer you. But still, what does it mean? Doing the act that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hoping for his reward and Jannah, and fearing his punishment and the hellfire. That's for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which means you don't want anyone to reward you, or to pay you, or to give you back, or to even thank you. You want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do it for you. That is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what's the sign you didn't do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If time comes and the person that you took care of did not take care of you, or the person did not thank you, you get angry. You wish that you didn't do it. You will not do it in the future. That means you're not doing for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Most of our dealings, personal relationships and benefits. You have to Eid, right? Your sister comes to you this Eid, guess who's going to go next Eid? You're going to go to the sister. You don't expect her to come. Brother and father and people like that. You come one time, I come one time. If you come two times, or there's something wrong there, that means this person is not doing the right thing. Oh, why should I go? I went there last time. So you're not working for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You invited me, I invite you. You did not invite me, I don't invite you. And then you ask the person, why are you doing it? For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But how come you didn't do that? Because they didn't. Why should I? You're not working for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You need to distinguish yourself from other people. You need to separate yourself from those people who work for relationships or work for dunya or work for personal reward. You want it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and guess what? You are the winner all the time, in this life, before the hereafter. Those who do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are more serene And that's what really counts here. Picture yourself, you invited your friend and she didn't invite you. You didn't invite her for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala naturally. How would you feel? How come she didn't invite me? She invited her friend. She invited somebody. She can't forget me. No way. You spend your time and your life worrying and questioning. But if you did it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, she didn't win. It's her choice. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Life is like that. You continue. You live so happy. You live so good. Any person deals with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a winner all the time, relaxed all the time, doesn't complain a lot. Yes, it comes to my mind. It makes me wonder why, but I don't dwell on it. Because I didn't do it for their sake anyway, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, number one, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what it means. You want His reward, which leads you to Jannah. And you don't want to get punished or go to hellfire. What's the second condition? We're talking about conditions for any act to be accepted. You have to have two conditions. Otherwise, your act is thrown back at you. Number one, sincerity or niyyah or ikhlas. Number two, purification. The opposite of what she's doing. The opposite of what she's doing is condition number two. Sure? You didn't see her? You didn't see her? Do it again so she can see you. The opposite of what he's doing.
Showing off?
Showing off, no.
Drinking with your left hand.
I watched the video.
Okay, I'll give you a hint. She's drinking with her left hand.
Oh, right hand.
Right hand.
He said the opposite. Oh, doing haram. Doing haram. Sunnah.
Brother, you get hasanat for making him happy. One condition is niyyah. The second one cannot be
The right hand.
the right hand. Cannot be.
Actually doing it all the way. Like don't do it like halfway, do it like 100%.
Do it all the way, not halfway. No.
Sunnah.
Who? Sunnah. What does that mean?
It has to be in according to the sunnah.
Ahsan. Jazakallahu khairan. According to the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If he drinks with his right and eats with his right, then this is what you do. If he told you this is what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He brought the Quran and explained it, you follow the Quran. He brought the Sunnah and he explained it, you follow the Sunnah. So following the path of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a second condition. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if you obey him, you'll be guided. If you obey him, you follow him, I love you. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you, you go to Jannah. So two conditions, sincerity or ikhlas or niyyah, the same word, same meaning. And the second one, according to the sunnah, you can say according to the sunnah or according to the Quran and sunnah or according to the teachings of Islam. It all gives the same meaning. طيب, what is the definition of ibadah? Ibadah, what is ibadah? What is ibadah?
Praying.
Praying.
Like any type of worship. Any type of worship to Allah.
Any act of worship, okay. What is the meaning of worship?
Praying.
Now, you answer one, you raise your hand and you wait for it. We're not going to pick you.
To obey.
To obey. Ibadah is obedience, good, but we need a long definition.
Be more specific.
طيب, I'll give you that, but I want you to pay extra attention to it, to the definition. Ibadah, when we say worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what is worship? It is, of course, you follow the commands according to the sunnah, but how you do it, the definition of it, ta'a taw'iyya, a voluntary obedience. Anyone forced you to pray? Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala point a gun at your head? No. So you voluntarily pray. You obeyed him voluntarily. He told you, I want you to do this, and you go to Jannah. If you don't, you go to hellfire. It's up to you. Decide. You obeyed him. طاعة طوعية ممزوجة بمحبة قلبية, mixed with love in your heart to the one you're worshiping. Because love or worship is love. يعني هلا يا شيخ, you never heard the saying, he worships her or she worships him? You never heard of it, right? You live in guacamole. Worship is ibadah. So, mamzuja bimahabba. So, I have a voluntary action of worship that is resulting from love in my heart to the one I am worshiping. طيب. طاعة طوعية ممزوجة بمحبة قلبية أساسها عبادة يقينية. It is based on Sheikh. How old are you? It is based on certainty, knowledge. It's not like, I pray, this is what my mom told me. How do you pray? I don't know. I just, this is how you have to know the exact worship. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, pray like you have seen me praying. It's not like the way you want to pray, the way you saw it. أساسها معرفة يقينية تفضي إلى سعادة أبدية. It leads you to a permanent happiness in the hereafter. This is ibadah. So ibadah, briefly, you can say it in words. I voluntarily, with love and knowledge, pray and obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so I can be happy in Jannah. Deal? We said before, what's the difference between the pillars of Iman and pillars of Islam mainly? Okay, first of all, young man, tell me the pillars of Iman. Salah, Zakah, Sawm, Hajj, and the national anthem. Pillars of Iman. I don't know, every time I point at my students in the class, they look behind them. I said, it's either I'm cross-eyed or you're avoiding it. It's like, wallahi, if I go straight line, I poke your eye. And he's looking around. Okay, one more time. No, it's her. Okay, help her. Pillars of Iman.
Believe in Allah.
Believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Listen carefully, Sheikh. Prophet. Books.
Day of Judgment.
Day of Judgment.
Qadr.
Al-Qadr. Ahsanti.
I've never heard that.
Repeat them.
I know, I've never heard
Repeat
that
them.
word. I've heard Psalm.
Sheikh, relax. What she said, repeat what she said.
You said pillars. The 5 pillars.
No.
Six.
Habibi, only conversation with one person. The pillars of Iman, she said them. You heard them? Can you repeat them?
Yeah.
Repeat them.
Believe in Allah. Believe in the prophets.
Books,
and angels.
messengers, angels,
Yeah.
Day of Judgment,
Yeah.
and Qadr.
That's 6.
These are 6, the pillars of Iman. Okay, what he said is the pillars of Islam. What are the pillars of Islam? Can you repeat them again?
شهادتان صلاة
Or loud, they can't hear you.
شهادتان صلاة صوم زكاة حج.
Shahadatan, Salah, Sawm, Zakah, and Hajj. Shahadatan, Salah, Zakah, Sawm, and Hajj. You agree?
Yeah.
You agree. Which one is the most important?
I feel like all of them are more important.
Thank you. But which one is the most important?
I feel like Shahada, obviously.
Ahsan, obviously. Put that aside from the other four.
And then Salah.
Salah, Ahsan. Why?
Because what separates a Muslim from a
Ahsan. That was a very, very distinguishing one. Distinguishing one. The Prophet ﷺ said the difference between Muslim and non-Muslim is Salah. If you leave it, you exit it. So this is very dangerous. Alhamdulillah, we've done that. We said something about Salah special. We said if you delay a Salah, not miss a Salah completely, delay it, it is worse than committing a major sin. It's worse than drinking. It's worse than killing. But because you don't get punishment for it, and your mom and your dad may be so lenient with it, you don't think. This is like backbiting. Backbiting is a major sin. And major sins have penal codes because if you leave them, the society is ruined. So they have to be punished for it. But that is not because they are more important than other things. Yani, if you let people drink and everybody is drunk, you ruined the brain and people cannot even worship. And if you leave relationship going, you destroyed families. And if you let every person hurt and harm the other person or kill, then you're living like jungle rules. But backbiting, it is sinful, but it is talk between people. But don't think it is light. It is horrible. Slander, 80 lashes for saying a word or passing a word that was said about the honor of some other person. So this person accuses that person in his honor. I saw him with a girl, for instance. And the other one comes and says, did you know? He saw so and so saw another person with a girl. Both of them have to be lashed 80 times. The one who said it and the one who carried it. Or provide 4 witnesses and prove it. And if those 4 witnesses came and one testified, the second testified, the third testified, the fourth changed his mind, the other 3 will get lashed 80 times. This is how serious Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants relationships and families and honors to be protected. Because once you put a blemish on the honor of someone, you kind of destroyed him in the society. 1 question per half an hour. Tfaddal.
How do we know all this stuff? Does it say in the Quran or is it in other books?
None of the above. My family.
No, Allah, does Allah say you get lashed 80 times in the Quran, or is it like in other books?
Who?
Allah.
Who's Allah?
Allah.
Subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ahsan. Yes, he said that in the Quran. What else you want?
I thought it was like in
No, it's in the Quran. Quran is. So you get, now if you have any questions, I'll give you time inshallah at the end to add, you have iPhones, use that notepad and type the questions. Don't let it just sit there. Okay. So when we say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punishes someone, it is because of how serious that is. So we have a lot of sins that people do and we don't weigh it. Riba, usury, putting your money in the bank or loaning someone's money and take it more than the money. Give him $10, get $11. That dollar is riba. This dollar is worse than 36 adulteries. A person committed 36 times adultery, the punishment for that is equivalent to $1 you take out of riba. But what is the punishment for that? There is no punishment for it. See? But it is worse than fornication that has a punishment. So, let's talk about the second pillar of Islam, Zakat. To answer the question, the difference between pillars of Iman and pillars of Islam. Pillars of Iman have to deal with faith. Pillars of Islam, action. Salah, action. Zakat, action. Sawm, action. Hajj, action. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about Zakat. Zakat, it is money that you give for certain people if you have a certain amount of money saved for a whole lunar year, untouched. Meaning, the scholar said 85 grams of gold, equivalence of 85 grams of gold. So whatever the gram of gold is, let's say $100, 100 times 85, that's $8,500. If you have $8,500, lunar year is 354 days. If you saved it, if you put it in your safe box, 354 days, you have to take 2.5% from it and give it to the needy people. $25 for every 1,000, that's like $200 on some. It goes to whom? إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين. فقراء, needy people. Masakin, very needy people. والعاملين عليها, those people who distribute it, like the delivery people. وَالْمُؤَلَّفَ قُلُوبُهُمْ, those people who are newly Muslims. وَالْغَارِمِينَ, people in debt. وَفِي الرِّقَابِ, freeing the slave. وَفِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, people who are traveling and they get disconnected or lose their money. I'm sorry, فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ, in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like for instance building a masjid, building a school and such. وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ, the wayfarer, the person who is traveling and he gets disconnected or lost his money, zakat is due for him. So what do? You give me that money, or you put it in the masjid, or you put it for someone who is in charge, and he will distribute it to any of those people. How much? 2.5%. Let's say you saved it 354 days, but 353 days you took 500. You no longer have to pay zakat. So you have haramiyya in Islam. You ever heard of haramiyya? Haramiyya, those people who play around to cheat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is, you get so dumb when you play games with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yani, the story of the Israelites, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them a day, a holy day, and they decided to have their own. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, okay. So during that holy day, they are not supposed to work or fish, and they were living near sea, and they live off of fish. That's their main source of food. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the fish, on Saturday, which is the day that they cannot hunt or fish, go deep in the sea, not close to the shore. So to catch a fish, it's a lot of work. Sounds like when I went catching fish with my friend, we threw the thing for like 3 hours and went to sleep and woke up and had tea and everything, and the thing, nothing touched that thing. So it's similar to that. On Saturday, fish are sunbathing. He's believing it. Brother, fish, when they get out of water, they die. They are everywhere. So what did they do? They took their nets and they put them on Friday night. They can fish, right? And they left it there. Fish came on Saturday, tangled in the net. Astaghfirullah, I won't touch them. Today is Saturday. I'll wait until Sunday morning. I go get the fish and have a wonderful life. So what did they do?
Cheat.
They played games with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the punishment was severe. Good people, they start telling them, ittaqullah. Another good people who don't care, like when you see someone drinking with the right, left, and you're looking at him and you know the right and wrong and you don't say anything, those kind of people, they said, why would you tell them, hey, let them do whatever they want to do. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to punish them. So basically, they did not enjoin good or forbid evil. When the punishment befall, guess what happened? The good people who did not enjoin good and forbid evil were punished with them. And those who enjoin good and forbid evil were saved. That's the advantage. Because if you see, picture yourself someone saying bad things about your mom or your dad. Two brothers, they hear that. One brother says, who you're saying about mama, you can't do. And the other brother, leave him. Daddy, when he knows, he will beat him up. Let him cuss. Let him say, it's okay, Habibi, it's okay. And then when they go to their dad, and that one is so angry, and the other one said, what did you do? Oh, nothing. They said, pah, with the rest of the people. So you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's command violated and you don't do anything about it, you have a major problem in your faith. This is a fact. طيب. We got the money and we gave it to the needy people. How about gold? Like women like gold and they wear gold. Would you give zakah on it? Well, two different opinions. Some scholars said you do, and some said you don't. Some said if you wear the gold a lot, so you use it, you don't pay. If you save it, sort of like money, like whenever you need it, you sell it and you cash it, then you pay zakah on it. Which one I would recommend and which one you should do? Pay on it and be on the safe side always. But make sure you are good with the person who buys you the gold. So your gold will not finish. You keep coming. Because money, when you give it, what happens to it? Purified and increased. That's two things. So think of zakah. I have a pile of money. This money has dirty money in it. What I refer to is money that should not be there. This is the zakah money. You take it out, now it's clean money. But what you have is dirty money. Dirty money for you, but clean money for the one who receives it. We said it's sort of like garage sale. My junk, your treasure. So, you don't want it, that's why you're selling it. You guys looking at me like you don't live in America. Wallahi, I'm talking about common sense. I mean, you don't know what garage sale is? Yeah. What are you selling there? Gold and silver? Yes? Yeah, Gold and silver she sells in there. I hate, man, I don't know, what do you sell there, brother? Yeah, no, look around you, brother. You always sell the things that you don't want. Naturally, you sell the things that you don't want, but people who buy it, buy the things that they want. The same thing here. You take the money that you don't want because it is haram. If you keep it and you give it to those people who are in need for it. طيب, how much you pay zakat on animals? Anyone have, I'm sure there are some, no animals, brother? You don't have horses? You don't? You just know how to ride them?
Yeah.
Brother, any cows? Well, for sheep, I'm sure all of you slaughter sheep or Eid and all that. If you have sheep, 40 to 120, you give one sheep. 40 to 120 sheep, you give one. If more than 120, you give two. And every so often you give more, but I'm sure you're not going to have more than 120, so we'll leave it there, inshallah. Cows, if you have 30, you give one baby cow. Camels, did you ever ride a camel? 2 camels, no, it's not good. 5 camels, you give, this is a funny one. If you have 5 camels, you give a sheep. Go ahead, laugh, brother. I know he's expecting something like, you should give a camel. What is a sheep? I know what your question is. What if he doesn't have a sheep? Well, then you wait for the camel to get pregnant and have a sheep. Won't happen either? He has to think about it. Where is the brother? Brother, you don't ask for IDs. You just ask questions like that. No, you ask questions like that. Depending on the answer, you know the age. Yeah, you're the representative of Brother Abdul Rahman, right? You're not?
I'm confused.
Well, my name is Hassan Khalil. Nice to meet you, confused. He's confused. طيب. Camels, every 5 camels you give what? 1 sheep. 1 sheep because you can't give a camel, that's too much, very expensive. طب صدقة الفطر. You fast, right? We're going to talk about fasting. Sadaqat al-Fitr, it's a charity you give at the end of Ramadan. Everyone. And you feed it to needy people. This is supposed to purify your fast from slippings. You know, sometimes people, when they're angry, they say things. Or they're hungry, actually, not angry. It purifies that, inshallah. It is giving in the form of rice, wheat, or barley, or any of those kind of food that is considered to be nutrition. You know the food that the government gives for needy people? Again, you still never heard of that, right? Brother, you never heard of that? No, thank you. This is the kind of food that is necessary for the person to live. It's like protein, but not meat. It gives you that need. So this is the zakat that you give. Some people give it money. This is an opinion, but it is weak opinion, because the Prophet ﷺ gave it in that kind of food. And if you were to say people are in need for the money for such and such, it is meant to be for poor people who need to eat. So if they don't need to eat, that means they are well off, and there are some other people who are in need for food. طيب, it is given also, it can be tamar, dates, because this is also, or zabib, raisins, because these are considered healthy and nutritious food. Let's talk about Ramadan. What is Ramadan? It's a month.
The best month of the year.
What month in the lunar year?
The 11th.
9.
Nice.
Ramadan. It is the 9th month. Ramadan is one pillars of Islam. In Ramadan, what do? You fast. You fast, no food, no drink, no intimate relationships between husband and wife. Any of those breaks your fast. What's the purpose of this? What's the purpose of fasting? To worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
I was saying to bring us closer to Allah. Same thing.
Say it again.
To bring us closer to Allah.
It will bring you closer, no kidding.
It's an opportunity.
Inshallah.
It teaches you willpower.
Willpower. This is excellent. But number one, it is fard. It's one of the pillars of Islam. One of the wonderful things it does, it gives you strength in willpower. But really, what it does, it is sacrificing what you like for the sake of you like more. I am so hungry and I love food. But I love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more because He told me don't eat food. So most of you are not truthful when you say you love mom and dad. Because if your mom says, come back at 11 because I don't want you to stay late, and you don't, and you say, I love you, mom, you're a liar. I am hungry, but I'm not going to eat because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told me not, and I love Him more than food. This is how you look at ibadah. I am so sleepy, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told me to wake up for Fajr, so I wake up for Fajr even though I'm dying for sleep because He is more important and more love to me than my bed. Look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about believers. تَتَجَافَى جُنُوبُهُمْ عَنِ الْمَضَاجِعِ. Here is your bed, and here is your side on it. You are creating animosity or hatred between you and your bed, that you kind of pushing it away from you or yourself away from it to go to someone you love more. So basically it's a fight. It's so hard to leave the bed, but I have to fight myself to leave it for someone I love more. And you all know how you feel when you wake up in the morning and you want to pray and it's cold and your mom or your dad did not turn the heater on and the water is freezing and the shaitan comes and start picturing everything for you. You're going to wake up and go in there, it's so freezing. You're going to turn that, it's going to take half an hour before it warms up. Well, you're going to do, you're going to say Allahu Akbar, man, you're going to recite Al-Fatiha. By that, you're going to freeze before you finish. Especially if your dad told you, wait for me. And you know how your dad recites, he acts like he just loves Quran in the morning. Shaitan will play a full tape for you. That's in bed, you're still in bed. And the next thing you know is you're sleeping again. But those who love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, look how you deal with your work. Deal with, astaghfirullah, this is bad, but if you deal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the same way you deal with your work, guaranteed you go to Jannah. Just like you're guaranteed you keep your job almost. Because you're there all the time. And if you're there all the time for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, definitely you go to Jannah. So you set the alarm. It's amazing that you deal with someone you know, and they don't get up, and they don't pray, and then when they get a job, all of a sudden they wake up and they go. Why? Material. You see the cash, but you don't see the hasanat. It's like I prayed, okay? You don't look under the bed and you see a pile of hasanat and you take it and you cash it and you buy things. It's not even tokens. You don't do that. It's faith. That's why we started with pillars of Islam. Faith. I trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's going to give me. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always giving you. So when you fast, you are actually leaving the things that you love the most for the one you love more, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is the reality of fasting. It also trains you to see how hunger is. When someone tells you someone is starving in such and such country and you don't know what starving means, or hunger means you're always eating, you're not going to feel with them. Same thing with thirst. And we know that any person who decides and intends out of faith and out of dedication to do a ibadah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guaranteed will help them. For those of you who find waking up in the morning hard, set your alarm and say, inshallah, I'm going to wake up. I wanted to pray on time. Oh, Allah help me. And I guarantee you will wake up. And you will get up and you will pray. It's not going to be someone carrying you, but you're going to have to put some effort, but it will be easier on you. Same thing with fasting. Wallahi, one time I remember I told my students at least 15 years ago, when Ramadan was in like December, and December just like similar to now, 5:23 or 5:30 at the most. And I told them, can you imagine Ramadan? It's going, because every year it goes 10 days less. Can you imagine Ramadan is going to come in a time where you have to fast until 8:45? One of the girls said, whoa, you're so lucky. You know why she said you're so lucky, Sheikh Hassan? Because I told her I'll be dead by then. Wallahi, she said, you're so lucky to die for fasting extra 3 hours. I mean, she didn't, just slipped, I guess, but. And here I am, alhamdulillah, still kicking. And I witnessed it. But my point is, those who were thinking, oh my God, tomorrow is Ramadan, it's going to be 8:45 and we're going to die and all. You're going to die and you will not be able to fast and you're going to have a horrible day. For another person goes, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us. He knows we can handle it just like other people do it. All people do it. I can do it too. You're going to go smooth in it. You think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to tell you do something, you're going to kill you? No way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more merciful on you than your mom on you. He is subhanahu wa ta'ala wonderful, subhanahu wa ta'ala. طيب, how many days Ramadan? Yeah, Abu Lihya, Saksuka. 30. You agree?
29 or 30.
Ahsan, 29 or 30. Lunar days, a month, 29 or 30. Can it be 28?
Yeah.
No. 29 or 30. How do we know it? By the moon.
Or calculation.
We look at the moon sighting. You look at sunset. After sunset, about 10 minutes or so, the moon will be born. If you see it at that time, that means tomorrow is Ramadan. If not, then you completed 30 and you fast after that. Of course, nowadays they use the astronomical equipment and all of that, and we have the same fight every year.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, who wins? All of us. Because both of them are acceptable by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah. This is the beauty of the religion. طيب. Who cannot fast? Old people. What do? They have to feed a poor person instead of every day. Sick people. How they expiate for it? They make up that day. If their sickness is permanent, they feed one person for every day. Pregnant women, if they fear for their baby, if the doctor or themselves told them that it will be harmful, then they cannot, or they don't have to fast. What they do? They make it up. And what if they're pregnant again? Or nursing? Then they can expiate. If they cannot fast until the next Ramadan, then they expiate, feed a person instead of every day. Who else? Women who just delivered cannot fast. It is haram to fast. Women on menstrual cycle, haram to fast, and they make up. Salah, we said they don't make it up. True? Why? Because it's hard to pray all those prayers, but fast, you make it up, and it has to be before next Ramadan. If you do it before Ramadan, after Ramadan, you are sinful. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَعِدَّةٌ مِّنْ أَيَّامٍ أُخَرٍ, you make it up from other days, and this is meant to be for that year coming up before the next Ramadan. So you pay for that. طيب. Laylatul Qadr. What's Laylatul Qadr?
On the last week of Ramadan.
Ahsan. Can you read the surah?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أنزلناه
Uh-huh.
وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل يوم سلام هي حتى مطلع الشمس.
Wonderful. MashaAllah. Jazakallahu khairan. Let me give you a hint, my friend. Your name? Muhammad. Everyone applauded for you, doesn't know it. Huh? Say it.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر ليلة القدر خير من ألف شهر تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل يوم سلام هي حتى مطلع.
Now everybody give him a hand. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. But you got to remember that when I said everybody, that means the majority. The minority have no rules. طيب. I think what are the days that we cannot fast in?
Oh, I know.
Eid, both Eid.
يوم الجمعة.
Yom al-Jum'ah. We're talking, well, I guess you can say that. But there is a condition for it. You fast the day before or a day after. Tayyib. 3 days of Tashriq, which is the 3 days after the big Eid, which is the 11th and the 12th and the 13th of the Hijjah. Okay? What other days?
Saturday.
Tayyib, what are the recommended days of fasting? Monday and Thursday. Why? Why Monday? Prophet ﷺ was born on Monday, used to fast. What's another reason? He said that our actions ascend to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on Mondays and Thursdays. And let me give you something here. If you have a problem with some of your friends and you don't reconciliate between you and him, your deeds will not ascend unless you reconciliate. So if you have a fight with him on Tuesday, make sure you apologize or you reconcile with him or you say Assalamu alaikum or something to him before Thursday, or Thursday your actions will not ascend for Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And by the way, reconciling doesn't mean just simply saying Assalamu alaikum to him. This is good enough. The Rasul ﷺ said the one who starts is better than the one who doesn't. Now,
I thought it said you get into a fight with your friend, and then like y'all can't be like mad at each other for like more than 3 days.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Correct. There is a hadith. It is haram for a person to not talk with his friend more than 3 days. So this hadith, you understand it, more than 3 days you will be sinful. Here, you're not sinful, but your actions will not ascend. You see the difference? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to add sins to you, but your good deeds are suspended unless you make it. So let's say you did not do it, you had the problem on Tuesday, you did not do it Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Thursday your actions will not ascend, and hopefully you'll make it until next Monday, because you might die.
And another hadith I read yesterday was that when you commit a sin, that like you have until like 6 hours.
Correct. This a little bit yani, off of what we're saying. 6 hours, you have 6 hours when you commit a sin. 6 hours, if you don't repent, it will be recorded. So the sin that you do, you have 6 hours, it's not counting. After that, it will count. This is yani, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the blessing. So we have Mondays and Thursdays, every other day, the way Prophet Dawood alayhi salam.
I had a question about the every other day. So what if...
we'll do the questions and after that.
Oh, why can't you fast on Friday?
Well, that's a question. We'll do it at the end. Huh? أيام إيش؟
The white days.
الأيام البيض. ما هو I'm programmed English. أيام البيض, the white days. Why they call them white days? Why? No, we don't want there. We want there. I mean, the girls have more brains, I thought. Okay, تفضل شيخ. Because of the moon. The moon is complete and full on 13, 14, 15. Okay, أيام البيض. What's other days?
Those 3 days after Eid. Yeah, so
3 days after Eid? Now we're talking halal or not haram. Those are haram to fast.
are you talking about the days that we're supposed to fast?
Sunnah to fast, yeah. The day of Arafah, ahsanti. What do you get if you fast the day of Arafah? 1 year erased before and after.
What if you purposely...
Sheikh, that's the question. How old are you? How about Ashura?
That's what I was going to say.
What's Ashura?
The day Moses split the sea.
The day of Ish?
The day Moses split the sea, right?
Ahsant. What day is that?
The 10th of...
Muharram. Ahsant. Any other days?
Someone said
Shawwal. The 6 days of Shawwal.
Someone said Shawwal.
Oh, 6 days of Shawwal. Ahsanti. The first 6 days of Shawwal. True or false?
True.
False. Any 6 days of Shawwal. Other days. Sheikh Al-Hussein, we already said that. A question for you. What do you get when you fast 1 day for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Anyone? Sophia, what do you get? If you fast 1 day for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Extra day.
Allah will take everything that's haram for a whole year.
No, sir. And don't. Okay.
Just fasting in general, any day?
Yeah.
Because I don't think the reward of...
There is no you don't think. What is it?
The reward of fasting is not stated.
Habibi, just tell me what is it. Not stated, that means you don't know. No.
This is the one where Allah gives what He desires.
The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Man sama yawman fi sabilillahi ba'ada baynahu wa bayna jahannam 70 kharifa."
Oh, you're right.
70 years away from the hellfire if you fast one day. 70 years, Sheikh, is like from here to China, right? Or farther.
70-year walk?
If you walk for 70 years, you don't get it to China? 70 years, brother. With your cheap car, you can get it. What do you mean, oh? طيب, we'll get any questions, inshallah. Questions? Fadl.
I already asked this question before, and then I got like different answers, and I was arguing about it. It was about like making up your days. You make up your days on a day that you get hasanat, like Monday and Thursday. You're making up your day on that day, or making up your days on the 6 days of Shawwal. Do you get the hasanat, or do you just get?
Well, the difference of opinion is on 6 days of Shawwal. Other days, inshallah, you can combine the two. 6 days of Shawwal, because the hadith conditioned that you completed Ramadan, then you fasted. But if you miss days, you don't fit in the category of completion of Ramadan. So you need to complete Ramadan, then add to it. This is the strongest opinion. So the safest and the strongest is to complete Ramadan, then make it. Now,
So you can't fast the 6 days of Shawwal and then make up your day?
no, you make up your days and then you fast 6 days of Shawwal. Because the hadith says,
But it's so close.
the hadith says, Man sama Ramadan. Anyone who fasted Ramadan, then followed it with 6 days of Shawwal. So you have to fulfill the first one. Now,
Why did you fast 31 days instead of like 28, 29?
He said, why can't you fast 31 days instead of 28 or 29?
because the lunar month, the fasting, all of the acts of worship in Islam based on the lunar month. So when we fast a lunar month. The lunar month can only be 29 or 30, meaning the moon will be complete and disappear 29 days or 30 days. Fadl.
So I heard them Hassan said that he used to fast on his birthday.
One more time.
He used to
Ya
fast.
Shabab, I cannot, Habib, I cannot hear.
He used to fast on his birthday.
Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, yes.
So like would that count as like if you fast on your birthday is like a secret?
You're saying you want to fast on your birthday? No, you fast on his birthday. You follow his sunnah, not your sunnah. Now, if he fasted on your birthday, then you do that.
He talked about the 6 hours. يعني شو what kind of repentance do you do? Is it the salah or?
If you ish?
What's the specific repentance you do? Salah for the 6 hours back after a sin that he said hadith.
No, I mean, when you do a sin, you have 6 hours.
Is it salah?
If you don't say astaghfirullah, it will be recorded.
If you do though, is it salah?
So how do you repent? Is it just the stuff for Allah, or do you have to? Is there other stuff that you have to do?
Well, I mean, depending what the sin is. If the sin involved rights of people, then you need to repent and give the rights within 6 hours. If you're doing something obligatory, salah and all of that, you have to make it up, provided that you have time for it.
Is it specific istighfar you do?
No, any general astaghfirullah, sincere astaghfirullah. Now,
For the sunnah for fasting every other day, what if it falls on a Friday?
well, that is the opinion of those who say you cannot fast on Friday, because you will eventually, if you fast every other day, how can it fall on Friday? You fast on Thursday, and you don't fast on Friday, and you fast on Saturday.
Because it's an odd number.
Okay, so.
Then Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Okay, and there is no fasting after it? No, it's a day before or a day after.
So if you fast Friday, you have to fast Saturday too, right?
Right. According to the hadith.
Fast Saturday too.
If you fasted Thursday or Saturday with Friday, it's good. So it would fall. Let's say it doesn't. You don't fast it, because you follow that opinion. You cannot fast it alone. And it will count as you fasting every other day. Remember, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a general rule, He may give you a specific rule that takes that generality of it and makes it a specific for that particular thing. You skip it. So for those who don't believe that you can fast on Saturday, if Arafah comes on Saturday, then you don't fast on Saturday and it counts that you fasted Arafah. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told you not to fast on Saturday. I'm saying for those who say you can't. So I don't want to get into that, brother. The scholars have difficulty with that. Now you don't want to open. I'll cut your hair, brother, if you ask me more questions. Now, girls, any question? Tfaddal.
So if you don't know how many days you miss out of Ramadan, but you know how long your menstrual cycle usually is, can you go based off your time?
Like time for fasting?
How many days you miss?
Okay.
You don't know exactly. Yeah, you forgot.
You forgot, then you guesstimate the highest. If you think, I don't know if it's 5 or 6, then you count it 6. Because you want to be sure that you're not missing a day. Aywa Sheikh, Tfaddal.
What's the best way to avoid interest in America? Like if you want to take out...
To avoid?
Interest, yeah.
Interest.
Living here, there's not a lot of loan or other options that don't involve interest.
The best way to avoid interest? Don't deal with it.
If I want to take out a student loan, there's very few that have no interest, right? Just make your payments on time.
Habibi, the only time you are allowed to deal with interest if there is a necessity that stipulates your life or your wealth is in immediate threat. My children will be in the street. I will be dying. I will lose all my money. This is a necessity that makes the haram halal, but it has to be with condition that you're working hard to get out of it. It's not like, oh, I need it now, so tomorrow I don't need it, I still deal with the interest. No, you have to get out of it.
Some shuyukh, they say that if you're trying to buy your first house to live in, then they give the permission to buy your first house to live in, not for to flip it or like to make
Maho, this is, you got to understand that when you have opinions, there are proofs. The proofs is what you go by. There are no strong proofs that supports that, unless you cannot rent, or you have a problem in things like that, which basically necessity, or something close to necessity. But to just simply come and say, oh, we're just getting married and this is our first house, go and get it, I doubt this even close to allowed in Islam, even though that some say with that opinion, the proofs are too weak against the other ones. Tfaddal. Islamic banks? Some of them are perfect, some of them close to perfect. Those that is close to perfect, if you are close to necessity, you use them. And those who are perfect, then you use them naturally.
How would you know if it's perfect?
You know, go to MJ Online, amjaonline.com. They will have, they will tell you which bank is perfect and which bank is not. This is MJ, American Muslim, no, Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America. Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America. You find all questions relating to banking, inshallah.
Sheikh, let's do 2 more because the pizza's going to get cold.
The pizza is getting cold, brother, and I know you're not hungry. We'll talk over there, inshallah. Last question.
Wow,
Quick.
that's crazy.
Okay, last question.
Wait, what?
He's getting angry, brother.
Okay,
Okay, my question is real quick. So are there like specific ad'iyah, or things that you say or do to get more wealth, to get your money?
Specific ad'iyah for getting wealth. Brother, يعني اللهم أغنني بحلالك عن حرامك. يعني there are so many ad'iyahs, brother. You can speak in your Somali language or Sudani language or Arabic language, inshallah, you get it. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
I'll just ask you anyway, since everyone